Rise and shine, Rwanda. It's Wednesday, the 9th of December.
Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Ivan Magwene.
And me, Yvette Shimbusho.
Over the next hour, we'll bring you all the latest news, sports and business headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And of course, as usual, we start with Yvette. I just want to know what's going on in the world of business.
Well, this is something very interesting. Imagine making furniture without using wood. Instead, using banana trunks. You know the banana tree?
Yes.
Yes, imagine that. And it's actually booming. Well, it's just begun, but I'll tell you more about that later.
Moving on to Sherry,
You
lifestyle.
know, Yvette always has this thing, imagine soilless farming, now it's making furniture without wood. Anyways, in lifestyle, I have this story about what's happening in the gospel industry, and there's a lot of creativity going on. There's this thing called Tales of a Masterpiece, and I'll tell you more about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Moses, I can never miss out the drama in sports, of course.
There are a lot. Charity Cricket Club they stand White Cloud
Yes.
to win Women T20 Cricket Championship.
Yes.
And they won it last weekend. So I'll tell you more how it happened and who won, how they won it, and which margin. More in details to come.
Well, I can't wait to hear that. Well, all that and more still to come, but first, Rise and Shine, story of the day. And now this is an event that has been taking Kigali over time. The fourth high-level dialogue on democracy, human rights and governance opened on Monday in Kigali. The two-day event co-organized by the Rwanda Governance Board and the African Union Commission attracted over 300 participants, among them women leaders in political parties and research institutions with experience of working on women participation in political processes. But first, let us take a look at the key highlights of this dialogue.
There's a saying that goes, if you educate a man, then you educate one person. But if you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation.
Of course.
You know? And I guess that's why everybody has actually finally realized the importance of women, involvement of women in so many different areas, and now in politics. And now we have the fourth dialogue.
Yes. Well, precisely speaking, of course, nobody even understands the politics of women that Rwanda, of course. Because at least as you know right now, we stand at 64% of women represented within our parliamentary, and which gives a clear picture of why, in the first reason why this whole dialogue had to come down to Kigali, and because, everyone at least has praised Rwanda because of that good development or that good encouragement of our women to be represented within the politics of the country, within the political parties, and of which is the main focus of this meeting.
And no, why not have the meeting within a place where people can learn by example?
Of course.
So that's why we're having it here in Rwanda.
Of course.
Yeah.
So key highlights, of course, of the meeting. Well, I will start. It's something that I noted, which was a very keynote address by our Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mushikiwabo, where she said, and I quote, "African women constitute over 2/3 of the agricultural workforce, yet there is no country in Africa or elsewhere where women's representation in political leadership matches the contribution they make."
Can you imagine? It has to be equal. I mean, if we constitute the highest number of people that are working within the agriculture sector, then we should also constitute the highest number within the representation in parliament and governance.
Yes, and of course the other issue we need to look at also, analytically speaking, the population for women in Africa is growing.
Yes.
If you look at it compared to the men, and the fact that also that we've seen a good example of Rwanda, that when you involve women actually in the development of the country, you really empower a lot of sectors in the country.
Definitely.
We've seen at least over 21 years since the the genocide, Rwanda has developed tremendously. And that means that one of the key reasons why Rwanda has been able to overcome these different challenges was because they made sure a woman was so actively participatory in all the government activities, in the politics of the nation. And no wonder we are at a stake where every country says this is the Singapore of Africa.
Definitely.
So, and not only that, I mean, if you look at other countries also regionally in terms of countries across the African Union or across Africa, you see that there's a growing number of women, and we've seen that at least if these women are put into the politics, into the decision making, and made sure that they take some of the most important decisions of their nations, this means Africa could be on the move in terms of leadership. So no wonder this whole focus for the meeting came down to Kigali, and I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, the results were positive, and we hope to see more changes coming up in the political systems of our nations in Africa.
Exactly, and since the last day was yesterday, I believe that you compile everything we need to know that actually happened within the meeting, and then we can discuss a bit more about it later.
Of course, you can discuss more and more analysis, and maybe we could also have some guests come up and talk about it, because we saw a lot of panelists talking from the Minister of Gender and Gender Promotion,
the Commissioner of the AU,
yes.
Political Affairs.
Yes, and I mean, if you saw, for example, there's where she said, as you just said, that if you empower a woman, then you empower a community, you empower a country. And of course, this is a very key example, tangible results we've seen in Rwanda. And no wonder, you know, all this praise comes with the results. And
yes,
I'm
definitely.
very proud to be part of this movement.
Me too, especially for women.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Yvette Shumbusho up next with business news.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
the stories making headlines today. Cleophas Habiyaremye, a Kayonza district-based carpenter, could soon be starting to make more cash from the banana stem. The enterprise carpenter uses banana trunks to make raw materials for making high-quality furniture. He plans to start full commercial operation next March. Habiyaremye, the managing director of Atelieri Umuvanganzo Limited, is currently setting up 127 million Rwandan francs high-tech factory in Mukarenge sector in Kayonza, the first of its kind in Rwanda. The innovation will also contribute to environmental conservation by reducing the number of trees being harvested for furniture. The Development Bank of Rwanda plans to handle the students' loan scheme separately from other banking operations. The bank is already in final stages of opening new premises in Kacyiru near the Bank of Kigali. The office is expected to start operations by the end of this year. The Development Bank of Rwanda Chief Executive Alex Kayo Kole stated that he expected to launch the office sometime soon to handle the student loans. However, nothing else is particular has changed about the scheme. Earlier this year, the Minister of Education and BRD signed a deal seeking to improve student loans and recovery. Power utility, the Rwanda Energy Group and its two subsidiary Energy Utility Corporation Limited and Energy Development Corporation Limited have their job cut out going into the coming year to ensure that the complaints about how electricity is supplied and load shedding are at the minimum, especially to support industrial users. Jean Bosco Mugiraneza, the REG chief executive, is confident that 2016 will be a good year for them, noting that they will scale up power distribution and supply as well as increase efficiency to meet increasing demand for electricity. You're now up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news coming in just a minute with Moses Virikunzira.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. I am Moses Vilukunzira. Starting with local cricket, charity stunned White Clouds to win Women's T20 tourney in past weekend. Last year's runners-up Charity Cricket Club defeated defending champions White Cloud in the final of the 2015 UAE Exchange and Express Money Women's T20 tournament over the weekend at the Kichuchiro Cricket Ground. White Cloud batters had all it takes to defend the title, but their low score of 37 all out in 12.4 overs showed otherwise. White Cloud scorecard looked miserable with 4 ducks and all the others having single figures. Charity passed White Cloud score in just 9.2 overs with 4 wickets to spare. Now on to European football. Tottenham host Leicester City and Arsenal face Sunderland in 5 All-Premier League ties as Exeter host Liverpool in FA Cup third round draw happened last weekend. FA holders Arsenal will begin their defense of their trophy at home to Sunderland in the third round. Premier League Liverpool face a trip to League 2 Exeter. There are 5 All-Premier League ties with Spurs hosting leaders Leicester City. Manchester City will face struggling Norwich City. Southampton face Crystal Palace. Manchester United will play Sheffield United. And finally, the legend Sir Alex Ferguson predicted this year's Premier League champion. Sir Alex Ferguson declared that Leicester City can win the Premier League if they buy in January and Jamie Vardy never gives in. Sir Alex Ferguson knows a thing or two about winning the Premier League title and believes Leicester City could be holding the trophy in May if they strengthen in January. Sir Alex said, "If I were him, Ranieri, I would want an investment in January because this is a big opportunity. They could win the league the way they are playing and they have goals in their team." As well as adding to his word, Ranieri might face a battle to keep hold of his top-performing stars like Jamie Vardy. And Ferguson admitted he admires Jamie Vardy. Vardy is aggressive, he is quick, he has got energy, and he has got a goal in him. He has proved that, said the 13-time Premier League champion.
Well, now, Moses, of course, for any person out there, I'm pretty sure when Ferguson says something, the whole media gets their attention.
Absolutely.
But of all things quoted right now, I couldn't believe he could quote that Leicester City could have to take the Premier League this season. What's your basic analysis on that?
To me, Leicester City is the only team so far in the Premier League that has managed to win week in, week out. Week in, week out. You know, it's not easy to lead the league for about 4 months. You know, everyone is asking, can Leicester City hold it? Ferguson himself said it. He said, there's a time when, I believe in 1999, 2000, when they won a trophy against Norwich City. Norwich City led the table till March of that year. And Ferguson beated them at their own ground, with Manchester United, of course, and they eventually won the title. And now Ferguson is saying, if Leicester City buys players in January, that means they will strengthen the squad, because now if you can see the way Leicester City is lining up in the field, they are only playing the same players. You know, yes, when Vardy gets injured, who will play in his place? If Raul Meireles gets injured, who will play in his position? They are holding midfielder, they are wing back, they are goalkeeper, and they are midfielders. If any one of them gets injured, no one will replace them, because the replacement are not as good as Valdez and Meireles. But I think if they manage to buy some players in January, this team is really a team to watch. They can surprise everyone in May.
Well, I can't wait, because you know it's the Premier League. Anything happens every day, every weekend. Well, I can't wait to see what Leicester City has. Basically, keeping up the top performance is not that easy, especially now that Leicester needs to have quality players.
Absolutely,
of course. Well, moving on. Of course, now it's the FA Cup. Of course, the oldest. The oldest cup in England, so
over than 150 years.
You can imagine that. That sometimes takes me back to say how old is our football game here.
Yeah.
But moving on, well, do you think maybe the defending champions need to do some magic this time to make sure that they keep up the cup? So you think maybe the other way around, you see that the fixture of the games is pretty much fair for Arsenal, or in any way or the other?
It's going to be tough for Arsenal to win this year's FA Cup.
And why so?
Because, you know, much of the talk that Arsenal is playing well and Arsenal is doing well, but the injuries this time, Arsenal, I'm telling you, it's tough. Because, you know, Arsenal Wenger nowadays is not looking for FA Cup. He's trying now to focus on Premier League. That's the thing.
Well,
and no, it's
Arsenal
it's
fans.
they can hear. Even our viewers can listen this because you always have to have a priority. What am I focusing on this year? If it's Premier League, go for Premier League. If the FA Cup, go for FA Cup. I can see this year's FA Cup can be either fought by Man City or Liverpool.
Why not Man U?
Manchester United with the problem of scoring, and you know, you need to score. You cannot play with struggling Sheffield United if you don't score. I'm telling you, they will score one goal and you'll fail to equalize that goal. You've got to score. If you don't have that killer instinct, it's hard to win FA Cup.
Right.
You can see all the past winners. You can see the way Arsenal was playing last year and the previous year, and you can see when Man City won it. You can see when Wigan won it. You can see when Blackburn won it. They always had that killer instinct. When Chelsea won it and Tottenham, they had that killer instinct. And for Manchester United, until they solve this problem of scoring, you will even see in their Champions League tie, things are still tight.
All right, well, I can't wait to see what Man U says. The goal is up for Man U, and I can't wait to see what the Arsenal fans do about defending their cup, of course.
For the last 2 years, they've won it in style.
All right, man.
I'm telling you, if Arsenal can prove us winning it that time, I'll put my hands up.
All right. There you had it from Moses. Local and international news coming up just next in a few minutes.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
Let's take a look now at news making headlines in Rwanda and around the world.
13th edition of the National Dialogue Council, or Umushikirano, scheduled to run from December 21st to 22nd in Kigali, will provide an opportunity for Rwandans to articulate their choices for the future they want while moving towards the achievement of globally endorsed development goals. This is according to a statement from the Prime Minister's office that also reveals the theme of the dialogue, Rwandans' Choices Foundation for National Development and Dignity, provided by the Constitution. The National Dialogue Council is a Rwandan homegrown initiative which offers a forum where the presidents, along with other national leaders as well as ordinary citizens, debate issues relating to the state of the nation, the state of local government and national unity.
Prosecution is accusing genocide suspect Bernard Munyagishari lawyers of attempting to buy more time following what is called latest maneuvers in a case that is yet to enter substantive phase. Munyagishari was transferred to Rwanda in 2013 by the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. The lawyers had earlier indicated that due to budget constraints, their legal services to the suspect were not possible, calling on to the government, which takes charge of legal representation for transferred suspects, the increase of the lawyers' fees and change of mode of payments.
And in other news, South African Olympian Oscar Pistorius is due in court to apply for bail after judges changed his manslaughter conviction to murder last week. Pistorius now faces a minimum 15-year jail sentence for murdering his girlfriend in 2013. The 29-year-old killed Rever Steenkamp on Valentine's Day after shooting 4 times through a locked toilet door. He's currently under house arrest after spending 1 year of his original 5-year sentence in jail.
And in international news, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has called for a halt to Muslims entering the U.S. in the wake of the deadly California shootings. He said total and complete shutdown should remain until the U.S. authorities can figure out Muslim attitudes to the U.S. At a rally in South Carolina hours later, Mr. Trump repeated the pledge to loud cheers. Criticism from the White House and other Republicans was swift.
Well, it's a lot of drama, of course, from Trump.
Yes, and there's going to be a lot more.
Well, I can't wait to hear what Trump says. Of course, this is a segment that everyone is always waiting for. We take a look at what's happening in lifestyle and what's hot right now in our daily debate section. Hot topics, of course, with our very own Sherry Owase. We'll be right back.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
Welcome back, and it's now time for your lifestyle update with me, Sherry Uwase. Now, it is no doubt that the music industry in Rwanda is slowly but surely growing. And in particular, today we take a look at the gospel industry, where there is so much potential. I introduce to you the tales of a masterpiece, where different gospel artists showcase their art and tell their stories behind their songs. And I happen to be there for the 2 previous episodes of Tales of a Masterpiece. Here's a sneak peek so that next time you don't plan to miss it. Take a look.
Who would've thought I'd step inside this train station, then get hit with some inspiration? It's amazing. The most beautiful pieces of art come from the ugliest situations. So I praise and rejoicing in my suffering, cause I know he's got a masterpiece in the making. And I ain't scared of death nor Satan, cause I know his hand that my name is engraved in. This right here is a proper statement. I am not the artist, I'm the canvas that he's painting. Like I remember last year being homeless, sleeping on the air.
I'm excited and nervous at the same time, but first expectation is that the people who come, I need them to be inspired by, inspired or encouraged, or just have a fresh view of who God is, just by telling them what he's done in my life. I just want them to know same thing he can do to them, Yeah, that's my first expectation.
Nothing. You made something out of nothing. Yeah, check. Sitting back, meditating on creation, thinking how you made everything out of Nathan. With a statement, you sustain it. Let there be, and there is.
No one can compare.
That was just authentic, everything.
And know your lifestyle everywhere that I go. And he sings, like, he sings all the keys, from A to Z. Seriously, man.
It was beyond amazing. Like, when you're like, duh, it was amazing because amazing.
There are words to express how much I love.
This is Christ mixed with art, and when you put those two together, definitely great things happen.
Right now, the masterpiece.
I'm not here to just entertain. The whole purpose of this is telling my story. I just hope it encourages and inspires some of you. It's the story of how God has been working in my life.
With the pressure that I'm doing got the words to say how I thank you. Hey, for the greatness I am, it's when you man. Got the words to say anymore, so please tell him if you will.
It's unique. It's a unique way to worship God.
Cause I can take it anymore. I did my best.
It's our duty to tell this story to the entire world.
Only you. Never, no.
I'm excited to hear more of what is yet to come from the team.
Songs tell of a generation, and we let artists, worship leaders write songs because of things they go through.
And I had fun. I really had fun, and I'm glad to hear some people were blessed. That was the main purpose.
Oh my gosh, Gael's testimony was just mind-blowing, and I think we should do this more often. I think it's a very big encouragement when people listen to other people's testimonies and know that they're not alone, they're not weird, they're not insane.
When God is working in your life,
there's a story we tell.
You know, but you shouldn't follow. There's a verse that, no, it's not a verse. There's a verse that says, no, is it a verse? The one that says, follow what I do and do, no, do what I That's the one. It's not a verse. I don't know if it's a verse or just a saying or proverb. But you know, at that time, he was in a relationship. I was also in a relationship, and obviously, well, not God's real. But in that moment, you know, there was just such a great. I just felt like when he was sharing his vision, I felt like he was sharing what I had in my heart.
And joining me in studio right now is Ngogaban, who is the organizer of Tales of a Masterpiece, actually the mind behind Tales of a Masterpiece, and Gael Rutembesa, the gospel hip-hop artist who actually premiered on the first episode of Tales of a Masterpiece. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you for making time. Yeah. And now, Barnabas, I just want you to start and tell us about the Tales of a Masterpiece. What is it all about?
Tales of a Masterpiece was born out of the curiosity of knowing the stories behind the songs people sing. Because sometimes we look at this worship leaders, singers, and some of the songs that they sing help us in our lives. Sometimes, you know, many songs like we hear, you know, like Luke. If you listen to Luke's song, Wanna Look, yeah, the song Yata Will Be Taker. When you hear the story behind it, it's a powerful story that comes with a song. So, which means out of pain, God can create something nice and that can help other people. So, out of that, I started, asking people, why did you write this song? Why did you write it? So they would tell me the stories behind the song. So I was like, okay, why not create something? Create a platform where these artists can tell their testimonies and the stories behind the song, so that even the ordinary people who look at them should not put them on a pedestal and say, hey, he's out there, he has made it, he has arrived, and what I'm going through cannot happen to him. But when they come down and share their story, say, oh, if God can do that for him, he can do it for me. So it's an event that creates hope, empowerment, encouragement, and yeah. Like the Bible says, we overcome by our testimony. So your testimony can be of help to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why the name Tales of a Masterpiece?
Tales is a story, of a masterpiece. A masterpiece is something that comes out of brokenness. When someone says, I have a masterpiece, it's something special. For me, I believe that God gets our brokenness, whatever we go through, and he creates something nice. Like I said earlier, Luke Buntu, what he went through, he created something nice out of it. And the song Trashima, Yata Will Be Taker, or Maya's story, or Gael's story. If you listen to Gael's songs, everything that he writes, it derives from the things that he went through.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me just move over to Gael. Gael, how was the experience of you being on the Tales of a Masterpiece?
Well, it was really amazing. It was really amazing because that was my whole testimony, basically, just in a different way. I actually felt connected to the audience, the people who came. Many people were able to relate, and I had this sense of accomplishment because my testimony actually helped people, you know. And I also enjoyed the whole experience of giving a testimony in a different way. Like we dug deeper. Many people give their testimony, yeah, Jesus did this for me and this. But when we go deeper, someone who's listening, at least someone who can relate to you, will not feel alone in this world. You know, they won't just look at you like, oh, okay, maybe Jesus favored you, and for me, no, my problems are much they're worse than yours. So the whole thing of digging deeper and just, you know, being authentic and letting it out there, it wasn't easy, but it was really accomplishing because we were able to reach out to some hearts, and man, God was glorified, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
How many songs did you do on that day?
I did 6 songs that day. Yes.
And every song had a story?
Every song had a story,
Right. And I think that's really nice for you because you even get to share the story and not just a song. Because in a song you try to summarize what you want to, the message that you're trying to put across.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what were the challenges for you when you were planning to be on, especially that you did the very first episode? Yeah.
My only challenge was how far will I go as far as being open, you know, like what things about myself will I keep back and what am I gonna put out there? That was the biggest challenge, and because this whole thing of, man, people are gonna see me different after this, you know? They all look at me like this person who has made it, who God has brought from somewhere, but they don't know a lot of the, you know, like before I was saved, I did a lot of bad stuff. And so it was really challenging knowing what to put out there and what to keep behind, you know. And in the end, I ended up putting everything out there. It was quite embarrassing at first, but man, seeing what it did, I feel good about it now.
Okay. Now, Barnabas, I understand that you're going to have a couple of more of them coming up.
Yeah.
Any challenges that you meet when you're planning these?
Of course, when you're starting something new, you meet a lot of challenges because when you're thinking of something like that, you're only thinking of the big picture. But the things that come before, you know, the whole picture comes to life. You know, it's hard, you know, getting the cameras, inviting people, convincing the artists to share their stories. You know, it's not easy. But we as Christians, I believe that sometimes God lets us go through some things so that when we come out, we share our stories so that other people should not go through them, or even though they're going through them, can say, hey, look at where God has pulled me through. He will pull you through too. And if you look at the Bible, sometimes we look at the lives of David, Joshua, all these guys. But when we look at them, we say, we're like, these are stories. You're like, wow, you know, if God can do that, it's something that you don't relate to it like you seeing somebody else, somebody you know, person like me knowing Gael and Gael sharing his story. I'm like, whoa, dude, you went through that?
All that,
And so we see their strength when they're on stage, but we never know their weaknesses, what they go through. Can I relate with you?
Okay. And so far you've done 2 of them. The first one was Gael and the other one was Maya, who actually couldn't make it to be with us today. Probably we'll get her for the next one. So what's the difference so far? Like in the first one and the second one, have you seen any kind of improvements? What have you done that was better from the previous one? What do you think you're going to do in the next one? Or just a step of it?
The first one, I was just stepping out of faith and not knowing exactly what I'm doing, but just believing that, you know, people will understand the idea behind the Tales of a Masterpiece. But the second one, we started shooting the promo videos. inviting people, you know, because we now know that some people understand the idea behind the Tales of a Masterpiece. And this time it was a very good turnout. Even the first turnout was really
good,
big.
yeah,
But the second one, people started understanding, you know, and wanting to know the stories of the masterpieces at the time. And yeah.
Okay. So what future plans do you have, or who do we have next?
Right now, I don't know who's next, but I just have a list of artists that I want to invite, but I don't make emotional decisions. I just sit down and think about it, pray about it, and but we're dreaming big. I dream of a time where we invite all these big artists, Tom Boy and Chris Tomley and all these guys to come and share their stories.
Yes, and this is strictly only gospel musicians.
Yeah.
It's only for gospel music, which I think is a great thing you guys are doing to promote the gospel industry in the country. Now, finally, Gael, just to you, what plans do you have for your music as we wrap this up?
For my music, man, I just, after these Tales of a Masterpiece, I've actually wanted to, you know, now that people know a bit of my story, I'm sure they'll be able to understand my upcoming songs. So I want to dig deeper. And because I'm still learning. I'm still a growing Christian. And I'm expecting to dig deeper, knowing now that they'll understand at least where I'm coming from, and I'm expecting them to actually, you know, benefit and also learn something from me.
Okay.
Planning to take my testimony anywhere I can, wherever God leads me. I'll go, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for making time to be with us and, you know, doing what you're doing. We wish you all the best, and hopefully God is going to bless you even more.
He will. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. So there you've had it from Gael and Van, and do not go away. We'll be right back after the break for Hot Topics. Welcome back, and it's that Hot Topics time again. As always, the Rise and Shine Rwanda team, we have been up and about gathering everything that you need to know about what's happening here and abroad, from what's trending on Twitter to the debates in your local cafe. So we've got them all for you right here, right now. Now, Syed Farouk received a $20,000 deposit to his bank account nearly 2 weeks before he and his wife unleashed a deadly terrorist attack in San Bernardino that killed 14 people. The origin of the large sum was not immediately clear. It was then split between Farouk and in the form of a $10,000 cash withdrawal and $15,000 to an account believed associated with his live-in mother, Rafia Farouk. The report stated, citing an anonymous source close to the investigation. Now, I understand that these people were given this amount of money.
Yes.
In other words, they were paid for this.
Yes.
Yes. Yvette, I think you know more about this story.
Yes. I've been following from the get-go.
Yeah.
So what happened was Syed Farouk he worked within a health center in San Bernardino in California, right? And they were having a Christmas party. And once he reached the Christmas party, he was, you know, just socializing with his co-workers. Then he got very angry and stormed out. When he came back with his wife, fully loaded with ammunition, and started spraying people with bullets. Now, what happened?
Just walked out, came back, and then they just started shooting people.
Yes, and they were fully dressed in combat, as if this had been planned for a while. And what happened was, his colleagues said that before Syed was not married, but earlier in April, he traveled to Saudi Arabia, and when he got back, he had a wife, and a few months later, he had a child.
Just a few months later?
Yes.
Like,
so
wait, this child, was it like a proper baby, or
yes,
they adopted?
No, I think it was a proper child. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So now what happens is, now Farouk and now Syed and his wife go on and leash this crazy terrorist attack on these people, and 14 people died. Yeah. Others were locked in other rooms within the building, and they were calling for help and, you know, texting their loved ones saying that they loved them, and they didn't know what was exactly was going to happen. And then, of course, police came and the SWAT team came, and they chased Farouk and his wife along the highway. Eventually, they died because they were killed on the way. And it's unfortunate. And now that we have new information that they actually got money deposited in their bank accounts, just shows you that this was definitely planned. We don't know which terrorist group is behind it, but we suspect probably ISIS. And also we know that this was definitely a terrorist attack. And America has been, the US has been warning his people, warning their people about being careful and knowing that they shouldn't travel in different areas and around the country or even around the world. But the thing is, and Donald Trump actually said that we should cut off all Muslims completely. But that's the issue. Should they really cut off these people now? Because there are people who live, Farouk was in the United States for a very, very long time, and this person lived there. So what about the rest that are living there and probably are ready to unleash some more?
Yeah, and even the president is a Muslim himself. I mean,
is he really?
Yeah, Barack Obama.
Just the name. That was just the name.
Yeah, but he is Hussein. Yeah, he is a Muslim. He is a Muslim. Anyways,
I thought those were just names.
Well, for me, I think it's non-arguable. This was, as said by Obama when he was delivering his Oval speech. He said he declared it as a terrorist attack, and he has been mentioning a lot of a lot of issues on gun control in the USA and how people can easily access guns. And for me, right now, I think the mere fact that even ISIL itself could be the potential terror people around this terror attack. Maybe it could be ISIS, but again, also it could be also any local, because a lot has been going on because of these domestic terror attacks. Because right now, according to the analysis and all the statistics, they actually show that there are more domestic, of course, terror attacks than any other attack. So, which means that America is more alert. I mean, more easily to get a domestic attack terror attack more than any other thing. So
definitely.
Well, the whole controversial issues around the things are very sensitive, because as Trump said last night around this debate on whether they should allow Muslims in, I think Trump's some kind of, it's everybody's opinion, but I think Trump he has gone beyond boundaries at this moment. That's my opinion. That's why I feel like there's a lot of Muslims in the US, and leaving that, of course, not every Muslim is evil, or not every Muslim
some are just shouting,
is a terrorist.
Seeking
so
shelter.
I think we need to be very, very, very careful around these kind of debates on whether Muslims are the ones, because not every Muslim has the same ideas and the same radical.
Definitely.
So, well, it's a debate that I think the US, I think right now, they should be more open to the gun control issue, because it's a very big issue affecting Americans. We've seen a lot of people suffering from South Carolina to Illinois to Chicago to recently we saw one in Colorado. So, I mean, Americans should be very vigilant about the gun control debate, and I think it's something that we need to take up as soon as possible, because it's affecting their society.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
To me, it's very unfortunate that people are dying and people having a hand on that other people's innocence death. And this case, I believe that it was a planned attack, because if the fact that people it was a kind of fighting in between them, and someone went out and came back and prepared. And, I mean, that's not something you prepare in a minute. That's not something you prepare in an hour. That's something you have planned, but you were waiting for the right moment to trigger.
Exactly.
That's what he did. And it could be ISIS, but it could also be something else. Because in America, as Ivan mentioned, there are a lot of domestic attacks, because people are having guns. There are more than 100 and above million people who are having guns in America. And, they declare that they have guns for self-protection, because that is security in America. That's a big thing in America. And
it's legal to have a gun?
It's legal.
Yes. In some states, you're able to purchase
as long as it is permitted.
Oh, permitted.
And but I'm pretty sure that ISIS, we might hear that in a few days or in a few weeks, ISIS coming out and say we were behind that attack. That's what they've been doing. Something happens, after some time they declare it's them. And America should be very, very careful, because you cannot chase out a Muslim community. There are a big number in America. You can never do that. And much talk, there are a lot to talk, but we have to be sensitive also in how do we express our ideas and opinions. But again, I'm so sorry for our brothers and sisters who died that day, and probably those cases could not happen again.
And they seemed very angry. I wish you could ask them, you know, why are you so angry? You know? And if you're so angry because of everything that is happening in Syria, then these developed countries such as Britain and all these countries that are involved within the war in Syria need to be extremely careful because they could be next.
Anyway, that is a very sad story, and let's just wrap it up there. We'll follow up with what happened next. And now on to something rather entertaining. Kendrick Lamar has emerged as the forefront runner for the next year's Grammy Awards with 11 nominations in total. His competition comes from Taylor Swift, whose pop smash 1989 is finally nominated a year after its release. It came out too late to be eligible for the last year's awards, a fate which has befallen Adele's 25 this time around, her new album that is. Now Taylor Swift ties with R&B star The Weeknd for second place with 7 nominations altogether, while Ed Sheeran and James Bay represent the UK. Other nominees for the Song of the Year include The Weeknd's breakthrough hit Can't Feel My Face and Mark Ronson's global smash Uptown Funk. Now Taylor Swift is nominated for the tongue-in-cheek single Blank Space, as is Lamar for All Right.
We gonna be all right.
Yeah, you guys were singing this song before we came on the show, and I was thinking, okay. So, you know, in the world of music, he has been nominated for 15 nominees.
11 nominees.
11 positions, categories. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yes.
That's when you know people have made it in the industry.
Yes, definitely. And you know, it is such a big deal for an African American rapper to be nominated for so many many categories within the Grammys. I mean, okay, we've seen a bit of that with, you know, Michael Jackson, but he was a pop singer, and then Beyonce, she's R&B and pop, but now a rapper. I mean, this is considered to so many people to be just ghetto and people just being, you know, ratchet or something like that. But now, you know, he's been taken seriously, and he is a fantastic rapper.
He is.
I mean, his lyrics are, you can not only relate, but they're very catchy as well, as in like the one we're just singing. He just says all right, but, you know, it's very catchy.
And by the way, that's the only word I know in the song, but I love it. That's the only word that I know in the song. Yes, Ivan.
Well, for me, I think Kendrick has been really working so hard. I mean, this time the street is represented out there. Like, I'm pretty sure downtown Chicago, people are happy. Downtown Atlanta, people are so happy. Because I think even making it to the Grammy Awards with 11 nominations, especially with somebody like Taylor Swift that has been working so hard. I mean, for him...
She has been working so hard.
Of course.
Yes, true.
Of course. And the other thing also, I was very excited seeing my favorite song, Thinking Out Loud, in the nominations. So I can't wait to see what Eddie Sheeran does. But I'm so excited for Kendrick, also looking at the other part. Also, Taylor Swift's album was a hit last year. And bringing out down to this songs like Blank Space, songs like... there are more songs of that.
Bad
Blood with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I know that makes even the chemistry more entertaining. You know, these are the two top competing singers on the Billboard.
That's the climax.
I know. Yeah. And they have the biggest smashes on the Billboard, and they're here collaborating in a song. So we're gonna be all right.
He just said everything I was about to say.
Okay.
But again, it's very good to see African American going and fight with the big boys and proving the world that they can do it. Yes. All right, you know, that's the thing. You know, of course, I can't wait to see the results. I don't have a lot to talk about because, you know, my music, I'm more culture, more local for music because I like Rwandan's music. So, but again, when I see any African person going out and prove the world that we are not only Africa, but we can also compete with everyone in the entire world. And for the music industry, we all know how powerful music can be, and we all know how music can influence people's lives. Yes. So for Kendrick Lamar, he has been impacted so many people's lives, and he has proved that from street to the top of the world, you can do it.
Yeah. Actually, Sherry, as we wrap up on this one, you know, Quincy Jones was some time before with Kendrick Lamar, and Quincy Jones was so happy, excited. You know, Quincy Jones is one of the biggest producers in the music industry in the 60s, one of the well-respected guys. And when he saw Kendrick Lamar, he was like, well, this is an emerging rapper. He reminds me of the days of the Tupac Shakur And he
Can
reminds
you
me of the
imagine?
days of the B.I.G. Notorious. He's the music connection.
B.I.G.,
on the
who is that
streets and
guy? You just reminded me. Yes, carry on, please.
So he connects the soul kind of rap music back to the people out there, and he connects the rap, you know, brings it closer to the person downtown to feel the, you know, the vibe and everything. And the good thing with Kendrick Lamar, you can still dance to his music. I mean, he raps in and kind of brings it with the R&B flow, and then it's so
he can
tremendous.
definitely collaborate with anybody, even
Yes.
rock,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
he could still like murder the track.
Wow,
So I can't wait to
that's
see what
real
happens
talent.
at the
That's real
Grammys.
talent.
Watch out.
I
Hopes
bet
he
we need
wins.
to.
Hopes he wins.
And hopefully next year Adele is going to.
Oh, I was just
win
about
it.
to say that because we haven't. None of you has mentioned Adele, and I love Adele's kind
Who
of
doesn't
music.
love
It's amazing.
Adele?
And you know, she just came when we're just ending there in September.
Out of
Just
nowhere,
the
just
other day, out of nowhere,
And her
just-
song has
Hello.
the most
It's
hits.
now number one
Yeah,
actually on the
exactly.
Billboard as
Yes.
we're speaking.
Yeah.
Just by saying hello. She did not
Yeah.
even say goodbye. Imagine when she says goodbye.
Yes, Yvette, thank you so much. All right, let me wrap it up right there. So do not go away. We'll be right back after the break.
Don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports we do. Finally, find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your pictures. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website, www.riseandshinerwanda.com. Well, that is all the time we have for you today. We love to hear your feedback. And do let us know if you have any ideas for programs. You have been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Yvette Shumbusho.
And of course, me, Ivan Magwene. We'll be at same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a very good day. Goodbye.
Bye.